It's been about 3 years since my last Prius test drive, and since then, Toyota has added this all-wheel drive model. But that got me to thinking about my Prius experiences over the past 20+ years. And I do recall the first time I ever drove one was in the city of Albany on the Prius media launch tour a couple of years before the car actually went on sale on this market. So it was a right-hand drive model, which was new to me, and that car had a lot of buzz surrounding it. Then flash ahead to 2009, I was in Orlando for the launch of the 3rd gen Prius, where I partnered with the late great Carl Ritzler in an MPG competition against the other journalists, and we actually won. Now, the cabin was smelly because we had the windows rolled up and the AC turned off, but we got this nice little gift basket at the end. But the best part of that trip, as I recall, was that the Boston Celtics, my favorite NBA team, were staying at the same hotel. So I got to meet a bunch of the guys, including an up-and-coming point guard at the time named Rajon Rondo. And then if you look at my YouTube channel, I have 8 Prius vids up, and I've driven even more than that. So the two of us have a very long history, but we both share a current conundrum. We're getting older and trying to stay relevant.
If you believe the news, a torrent of electric cars is coming soon. And not electrified cars, but true EVs, with only batteries and electric motors. Now, if that's accurate, where does it leave the old-fashioned hybrid like this Prius? The hierarchy goes something like this: mild hybrid, full hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and EV. The Prius is a full hybrid, so it can do some limited EV driving, but mostly leans on its small gas engine for propulsion, combining gas and electric power to give this new all-wheel drive model a stellar 50 miles per gallon. Installing another electric motor to drive the rear wheels provides on-demand all-wheel drive, though limited to speeds up to 43 miles per hour. It automatically activates as you pull away from a stop up until 6 miles per hour and injects an extra 40 pound-feet of torque and 7 horsepower into the equation. But unlike the lithium-ion powered front-wheel drive Prius, the all-wheel drive car uses old-school nickel-metal batteries. Why? Because they perform better in colder temps.
I've spent a good amount of time in Vermont over the years, and if you've ever been, then you know that like 9 out of every 10 Vermonters owns a Prius. But that climate and those roads are not exactly kind to this car, so this all-wheel drive model should be a boon there and throughout the Northeast, where some added traction is always a good thing.
All-wheel drive eats away at a little of the Prius's cargo space, but it's minimal. You can watch the torque distribution on this screen up here, but it's too early for snow in these parts, so I've been taking the Prius on some unpaved trails and the like, and honestly can't tell you if I've ever noticed a difference. But swap out these little 15-inch Eco tires for some snows, and I imagine you'd have an added layer of beneficial help during winter driving. New for the 2020 model year is a 7-inch touchscreen on specific trims, such as this higher-end XLE model, Apple CarPlay and Amazon Alexa integration on all grades, as well as putting the Toyota Safety Sense P system in all cars. The all-wheel drive option comes in 2 trims, LE and, like here, XLE. Pricing starts at around $28,000, while this one with the advanced technology package, including a heads-up display and swiveling headlamps, checks in at $31,429.
You know, the Prius sometimes gets a bad rap for having a soul-sucking driving experience, but that's not really true. It drives just fine, similar to a lot of other mass-market small cars, just with a hybrid powertrain. Now, for me, it's the plug-in Prius Prime where it's at in the Prius lineup, but if you want all-wheel drive, you can't get it with a plug. But here's the reality of the situation. The Corolla Hybrid is better and less expensive than both of them.
There are various drive modes, a forced EV mode for slow-speed driving, and this wacky shifter. But there is absolutely no need for this beeping each time you put it in reverse. There's no sat radio either, and the placement of the USB port in here, the wireless charge pad here, and no wireless CarPlay makes for a messy center console. But I do like the energy monitors, and the funky gauge layout still works for me in a Prius kind of way. This car also has adaptive cruise control and steering assist, but it feels rudimentary as compared with other cars I've tested. Space is decent with completely usable rear seats, which now include 2 USB ports but no HVAC vents. And that leads to my overarching thought about the Prius's interior. It feels cheap. So, in 2020, is the Prius still relevant? Well, if it is, it's hanging on by a thread, and its declining sales tell no lies. As for me, I'm buying some new clothes for 2021. For TestDriveNow.com, I'm Steve Hammis.